Hello and welcome, everyone. I am Pilar Ortiz, and this is Pilar Connects. I am always inviting special guests to this segment because we want to talk about different topics. We want to inspire you and we want to motivate our leaders in the United States and Latin America. Queremos siempre estar motivando a nuestros líderes, así que estamos invitando siempre personas que nos van a inspirar y a compartir su historia. Today, our guest, a very special guest, so I am very grateful. Thank you, Grace Maseda Saints. She is the Hispanic Woman of the Year. The Tampa Hispanic Heritage Inc. has this recognition and this award. One man and 1 year, one man and one woman every year have this recognition. So, Grace, thank you for being here. Congratulations. And thank you for making time to talking to us.
Pilar, it's my honor. Thank you very much.
Let's start at the beginning, and we are not going to spend an hour telling the story. But if we can summarize a little bit about Grace, the girl, Grace, the woman, what would you say about you?
Pilar, I am a very proud first generation Cuban American. My parents immigrated to this country in 1966. It was very clear that my father was persona non grata in communist Cuba. And despite the fact that my family has lived in Cuba for many years, my father, as well as my mother, realized that their future was not in their homeland, regrettably. That said, they have forged a way in the land of opportunity. They made it very clear that this country was where they wanted to grow their family, grow their roots, and were able to do so very proudly. I'm humbled to be their daughter. And I'm very humbled by the community support that I've received, both as a young child growing up in the West Tampa area and as a career professional in the communications and the field of philanthropy.
And we all face challenges when we live in a different country. I came here, I'm Colombian, and I came here at the age of 30. You were born here, and people will say, okay, yeah, she's an American. But you face another type of challenges yourself because probably, and I'm going to assume here, your parents didn't speak English very well. They have to start it from zero, probably. I don't know if you were allowed to speak Spanish because back then where that was very different. So, what were one of those challenges that you face as a first generation
I
born here?
often thank you, Pilar, for asking that question. I often describe my duality. And what I mean by that is I am very proud to be an American. I am very appreciative that I was born under the red, white, and blue. I am equally as proud to be that of Cuban descent. My parents were very meticulous in the fact that they instilled both pride in Cuba as well as pride and appreciation for the United States. But that does not mean that we did not have our challenges, that I did not have my challenges. I spoke Spanish in the home. So, therefore, being monolingual, entering the system, it was very difficult because I didn't know the language when I first came into the school system. I was able to overcome that challenge. The duality of cultures. My parents were very rooted in their Cuban culture. Too often, I would say that they were old fashioned or that they just didn't understand the United States. And you know what? That was just fine with them. It was up to me to navigate both my cultural heritage of Cuban descent, as well as my adopted and birthright country, their adopted and my birthright country of the United States. Too often, Hispanics, if you will, are generalized or stereotyped. And because my parents did not speak English, I was often their translator. I was often their go to person for questions of legality or medicine or even navigating the education system. that was very interesting and very difficult at the same time. Because while my parents were proponents of education and emphasized the fact that they came to this country so that my brother and I could realize our American dream, it was very difficult to blaze that trail because unfortunately we were blazing it at the same time because my parents had no way to navigate. But that is not something that I allowed to discourage me or to be a hindrance. It actually fueled my fire and it allowed me to realize how incredible the opportunity is to be your own person, to commit to that tenacity, and to make sure that no barrier is too high that it cannot be overcome.
And this is a perfect moment to talk about one of those situations, you being a wonderful student, navigating these two worlds, growing up with these challenges, and you face a situation when you are about to go to college and somebody probably didn't believe in you enough or thought that could put a label on yourself, but you have that tenacity. Let's talk about that, Grace.
Yes, that was quite formative. In my late high school career, as many ambitious students do, I sought guidance for my next step. I was an honor high school graduate. I had a competitive grade point average, but regrettably, I had an influential voice that tried to discourage my ambition. This individual didn't recognize that I, as an individual, had potential. This person was looking at my socioeconomic background. He was looking at the fact that I was a first generation student. He was looking at the fact that no one else in my immediate family had gone to college. And he was making assumptions about me and my potential. I have dedicated my life and my career to ensuring that that does not happen to other students, particularly other young ladies. We, as individuals who have found success, are required, and I use that word specifically, we're required to look back and lift others. That success has been formative in my career, and I think it's truly incumbent upon me to give back to students and to the community at large so that no one else feels that oppression.
And I am so glad we are able to talk about this because young women can be facing those type of conversations and they may think, oh, it's okay, so I'm not going to pursue that dream. And we are here to say, hey, look for mentors that believe in you. Mentorship is something big for Grace Maseda Saints. I know you have dedicated your life in communications and marketing, and you are currently the Vice President of Marketing and Communications at the Helios Education Foundation. But not only because of your job or your role, but because of your values and your beliefs. What does it mean, mentorship, for you, to you?
Pilar, mentorship is critical. It is as critical to a successful career as it is to a student, as it is to a personal relationship. I had one career mentor, and I've been able to serve as a mentor to other young ladies. My career mentor was actually a gentleman, and he sat me down one time in a very formal professional setting and asked my permission to coach me, to provide leadership to me, to ensure that I understood how I could advance. Again, keep in mind, I'm navigating waters that no one in my family had navigated. To have this gentleman raise his hand and ask my permission to do so was an immense blessing and something that I know was formative to my career and to my career trajectory. I've also been blessed to turn that around and serve as a mentor to two specific young ladies, now three. two young ladies in the past. One of them is a young lady who is interested in the world of philanthropy. She and I were connected through that mutual interest. It started as a relationship based on her career ambition. It blossomed into a relationship that not only touched upon her career ambition, but personal growth, the tenacity that is needed to be successful, the opportunity to learn from your mistakes and get up and do it again. She is a thriving young woman, well on her way in her own career. And she is of Hispanic descent, which warmed my heart to be able to give back to the community at large, but specifically to a Hispanic young woman. My second year mentee was connected through me, again, through the world of philanthropy, through a volunteer organization that I participate in at the University of South Florida called Women in Leadership and Philanthropy. This young woman was a senior at the University of South Florida, very, very bright young lady. She conversely was very focused on her career, knew exactly what she wanted to do, but she was very rooted in theory and had little experience when it came to practice.
And maybe emotional intelligence or those type of tips.
Absolutely. Our mentorship grew her emotional IQ, her connectivity to people, and her opportunity to break out of the theoretical speech into the more collaborative, conversational type presentation and speaking. So two very different young ladies. I felt equally blessed to be able to pour into their lives because, again, I had someone pour into mine. And I love working with these young ladies to find how we can make them grow.
And by listening to you, Grace, it's an opportunity for us to connect with their own personality, authenticity, and yes, helping to make that better, but without changing them necessarily. It's like, oh, you need this. This change is going to help so much. And what a gift that this gentleman came to you and offered. I have a very specific question that I've been asked many times. When a young person wants to look for a mentor, usually they ask, how do I do it? If I want Grace or Pilar to mentor me, and I know it's not just a matter of ask me, sometimes it's a matter of give first. What would you tell that person that wants to look for a mentor but not necessarily know how to? What to look for?
Well, I'd first start with self-reflection as opposed to saying, who do I want? I would start with what inside of you do you want to work on? And I'm not aiming for a title. I'm not aiming for an industry. As a mentee, I hope my mentee comes to me understanding who they are and where they want to grow. So how do you look for a mentor? You first start by looking in the mirror and understanding who you are. What do you authentically bring to a relationship? And then complement what you authentically bring to a relationship and grow from there. So how do they find a mentor? Look in the mirror, outline where your strengths are, where you feel your perceived areas of growth are, and look for people who are shining in that area of perceived growth. It could be a female, could be a male, could be that you are strong in the field of communications, but perhaps you need to grow a little bit in your financial savvy. So perhaps you wouldn't think of an accountant as being a mentor, but that person could teach you a thing or two.
And sometimes it's better to look for someone that is different to you. So that way it really complements because we tend to look for people that are similar to us. Grace, what a role model for your daughter. I remember when I was named the Woman of the Year already 8 years ago. Can you believe it? Already? And Alexandra is her name, right? Your daughter?
Yes.
And I remember vividly that she came to me and she said something beautiful about my speech and the words. And now I'm seeing that role model, the relationship that you have with her. What are the most important values that you want for her to remember and to know and to live from you? I know you have conversations all the time. So, what are those?
First and foremost, I always impart to her and to anyone who I have the opportunity to pour into. As we say in Spanish, dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. Meaning, tell me with who you associate and I will tell you who you are. That resonates deeply with me. So if you want to be someone, surround yourself with those positive people. Surround yourself with people who reflect your values, your character, and who challenge you to aspire and reach higher. Well, there's nothing worse in my mind than wasted or untapped potential. So I tell her all the time, dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres.
Y esas 5 personas que son influyentes en la vida de uno, el círculo con quien más hablamos. Así que, Alexandra, admiro a tu mamá, and here this hug for Alexandra. I admire your mom and I am very happy to keep knowing you a little bit more and more. Grace, yo sé que tú hablas español, que fue tu primera lengua, pero después de pronto el inglés tomó su camino y es más cómodo para ti, pero you are fully bilingual. ¿Qué mensaje le podrías dar a los hispanos para realmente sobresalir en Estados Unidos, para alinearse con esos sueños que tienen? Y si me lo quieres decir en español mejor, if you want to do it in English, that's fine.
La comunidad tiene muchísimos recursos. El hecho que uno llega a este país y no es nativo no debe de ser
Un obstáculo.
Esa es la palabra. No debe de ser un obstáculo. Hay muchas personas y organizaciones que quieren elevar a nuestra comunidad hispana. Y hay el porvenir. Mientras que uno mantenga el enfoque, el honor y la humildad, uno puede lograr lo que se propone.
Absolutely. I hope you keep working for this community as a Tampa native. Congratulations again for this beautiful award. And thank you. Thank you for all you do, because it's so important, as you said at the beginning, to always to give that hand to others, because we haven't done a lot alone. We haven't done what we have done by ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
So thank you, and I appreciate you.
Pilar, thank you for being a role model. Thank you for being that person that Alexandra looked to so many years ago. I am blessed to be her mother, but she is also blessed to have individuals in the community like you who model what it is to be a successful and prideful Hispanic woman. So thank you very much.
Gracias, thank you. Vamos por más personas y mujeres como Alexandra que podamos seguir trabajando juntas por la comunidad. Thank you, and this is Pilar Connect. See you soon.